The Attack on Titan finale. What is Eren's plan? And who is right in all of this? So what's up guys, Foxen here. Unfortunately, it does seem like there's only 6 more chapters left for the Attack on Titan manga. It'll be a nice farewell gift for Christmas. Hopefully that doesn't involve a farewell to a certain Ackerman. So definitely hit that colossal thumbs up, subscribe, and let's dive into this. But first, a huge thank you to Blade X Lord for sponsoring today. Something tells me you got a little bit of free time. So let me welcome you to Blade X Lord. This game is actually from the staff that worked on Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger. Feast your eyes on this new RPG. Something very interesting is that the game actually isn't turn-based, but it does give you real-time action. So if you love super interactive games, this will be right up your alley. On top of this, they go all out with their cinematic cutscenes. This is combined with some great sound design for the gameplay that really just immerses you and draws you in. So go ahead and build your party and skills, whether you want to use some knight characters or get some waifus. As a little bonus, they do come with their Japanese voice actors. For example, I recognize the voices of Goku, Yu-Gi-Oh, Professor Oak, and even Levi. That's right, somehow Levi got his second into being this overpowered knight class. Blade X Lord is free to play for your mobile device. You can download it right now from the first link down below. Go ahead and check it out. Plus, it is an easy way for you to support the channel. Alright, so talking about the Eren Yeager plan. He made that big broadcast on Titan Zoom, letting all Eldians around the world know. They tried and tried, but it looks like Eren was backed into a corner. In order to save Paradise Island, he's gonna use the Colossal Titans to wipe out everyone else. I do want to emphasize that is billions of people. At least going off of estimates of that time period, the estimate world population should have been around 2 billion people. On the flip side, for Paradise Island, before the time skip, there should have been around 1 million Eldians. Or should I just say people on the island? So right now it seems like everyone is either 100% Team Yeager or Team Avengers, which is really the Survey Corps plus Marley team up. I've surprisingly seen so many people 100% on Team Yeager, which is really just go for it, wipe out everyone using your Colossal Titan army. I'm not sure to what extent that's fully thought out, or perhaps really they just want to be on Team Yeager as opposed to the other guys. Going down the options to try to resolve the whole Eldian world issue, there seems to be really 3 sides to this. Naturally, the first one is Eren Yeager. Once again, if you do want to take him at face value, Eren Yeager is about to kill about 2 billion people to save the 1 million Eldians on the island. In other words, you're going to commit this massive genocide that has never been seen in order to save less than 1% of the world population. Really committing those atrocities and really fully becoming the devil that the Marley propaganda previously claimed you guys were. Although as you've seen in my previous How Eren Ends Attack on Titan finale videos, even if you are full on Team Yeager, I think everyone could very much agree that something else is going to happen, not the straightforward plan that he broadcasted. We're going to come back to examine this. The plan to save the world by the other Yeager, Zeke Yeager, which I really like to think of this plan as a compromise. Yup, this is going back to that euthanasia scheme. The Beast Titan Zeke pretty much thought of his plan as being a merciful one. Instead of killing like 2 billion people, how about we don't kill anyone? Most of the world would not be wiped out. Eldians on the other hand, no babies for you. In other words, really just taking away their reproductive rights. Eldians also wouldn't be killed, but slowly and slowly the Eldians would be wiped out from the face of the world. In other words, it doesn't matter how many Eldians you have right now. Take the youngest at the moment, potentially a newborn, 1-year-old. After 70, 80 years, they'd be wiped out. And definitely let me know what you think about this option now. Of course, I think I would assume almost every Attack on Titan reader was against this option when we first heard about it. But now we have this more extreme measure potentially being taken by Eren Yeager. Zeke's compromise seemed inhumane, but at the very least he wasn't gonna kill 2 billion plus people. And this is not to say his plan is a-okay, it just is a lot less worse. So potentially if Zeke is still in the Titan realm, who knows, he might be the one on Titan duty right now. It'd be interesting if Zeke still was trying to do a last-minute ditch effort to influence Eren Yeager. Next up, the third option. This unfortunately falls on Armin. Unfortunately, I have seen people more and more returning post-time skip. So recall back when Armin was picked in the manga, and most recently picked over Erwin in the Attack on Titan Season 3 anime. Naturally, Erwin had his die-hard fans, but it really did feel like the consensus was that Armin was by far the best option, the one that would actually be able to lead the Eldians into the future. Fast forward 1 time skip, and almost 40 chapters later, I really don't see practically anyone singing Armin's praises. As someone that also liked to tune Best Girl's horn, I'm almost running out of patience for Armin to actually do something effective post time skip. I would just have to default by saying I trust in Isayama. But anyway, the actual Armin option. No surprise, really just waiting it out, really being the opposite of being proactive. In one of the earlier parts of this video series, I did give my thoughts on Erwin. What would happen if Erwin was the one chosen instead of Armin? You could go ahead and check out the video details for that. But the main part for this video would be that Eren and Erwin would have a very synced up mindset. Potentially the two would become best buddies at this point. Unfortunately for Armin, he kept on wanting to wait it out, talk to the other people. Eventually the time to talk came and went. If anything, I do have to give props and credit to Eren Yeager to going to Marley and actually trying to talk to some people. Again, where was Armin in all of this? Am I being too hard on him? But all of this is really building the picture to the current Armin plan, which really seems to be, hey, we got the Survey Corps and Marley, we got the boat, we got the ship, let's fly over there, let me Captain America skydive into Dino Titan Eren's ear and try to talk it out. In other words, really going with the Talk No Jutsu option. Oh yes, I'm bringing up Boruto's dad. At least the general feeling that I'm getting is that most people would be completely against this Talk No Jutsu option, which would involve Armin, potentially the others too, reaching Eren, talking it out, and after some discussion, Mr. Eren turns, completely abandoning his plan. Alright, so let me know what you think about these three options so far, the Eren plan, the Zeke option, or the Armin plan. Before moving on, I do have to offer the Armin plan V2, which would actually be something more proactive. Potentially not something that Armin would initiate, but something at this point that he would be on board with, which would be the non-global destruction option. What I mean by this is what he thought actually Eren was initially aiming for. Hey, let's go ahead and unleash a couple of Colossal Titans, potentially the ones from the district, then let's go destroy the military bases at Marley and potentially some nearby locations. If not to destroy the military, really just to announce our presence and power. Which simply means at this point, we've ran out of time, we're now trying to get some more time back. It would at least remove any threat from anyone wanting to attack Paradise Island. The result of this would be the Marley military being wiped out, entirely or mostly, along with that from other rivaling countries. It would potentially allow Paradise Island not only to catch up, but to make it to the top of the food chain. Oh yes, I'm talking about Iceberg Stones. In the long term, I wouldn't be surprised if Hanji or some other mad Titan scientist, eventually after years and decades, I wouldn't be surprised if they develop some Iceberg Stone nuke or nuke-like technology. Would that be too early in the Attack on Titan timeline? Right now, yes. 50 years down the line, they would definitely have the time and resources to be able to put that together. Definitely let me know what you think about this Armin V2 option. More like Armin plus Eren Yeager. Getting back to Eren Yeager, now let's actually look at the Eren Yeager options if you don't take his message at face value. Yes, some of these are going to get out there. There's no way around this. The first one I do have to mention is the Code Geass plan. I actually brought up this idea back when Eren initiated the attack on Marley. At this point in the story, with a few chapters left, it does seem like that's a very possible option. So what this would entail would be Eren ultimately becoming the global threat, which he is right now, with his Dino body plus Colossal Titan bodyguards, thereby uniting the world that was previously fighting against one another, which is currently the case, Marley plus the Survey Corps. Those allied forces would then take down Mr. Eren Yeager. That's right, the Yeager Requiem plan. So what do you think about Attack on Titan pulling a Code Geass? If you are for this plan, definitely let me know. I don't think I've seen someone in favor for this, especially when it gets potentially worse. What I mean by this is that who is ultimately the one taking out Eren Yeager? Would it be Mikasa? Would it be Armin? Levi Ackerman is another option. Next Eren plan option, the time travel route. If you aren't familiar with this, just as an overview, you could potentially think of the Attack on Titan story being in some sort of time loop. I don't necessarily buy into this, as you may have heard me mention in the past. The reason this is relevant is really going back to the Titan Realm stuff. We've seen Eren Yeager potentially being able to influence the past via the Attack Titan plus Founding Titan combined powers. So hey, why not fix the whole Eldian issue with time travel? To further support this, you do have examples of either time travel or usage of time when looking at Norse mythology. The Attack on Titan, of course, has been no stranger from taking influence from that. Although I will be quick to point out Attack on Titan has been influenced from other things. Watchmen, Jurassic Park, Game of Thrones, Isayama's own life, and so on. I think right now, the very popular example that has been used for time travel, go look at Avengers Endgame. And trust me, I love the movie. I saw it in theaters, 5, 6, 7 times? All those times just cried my Titan balls off. So let me know, do you want to see a Titan time travel solution for Attack on Titan? The issue with this is that it opens up the opportunity for way too many plot holes. You could also argue the case, what type of story problem cannot be fixed via time travel? To me, it seems like way too much of a cop-out. Of course, you can get around this. I did offer a solution in part 2 of this video series, which I didn't see as necessarily time travel, but at the same time, you have to add so many freaking restrictions. Anyway, next Eren Yeager plan option, which is a global Titan wall. I did see something very interesting from one of you from my last video. I don't necessarily buy the idea, but I just find it very fascinating. Right now you have Eren Yeager somehow getting all the Colossal Titans over the ocean, so instead of wiping out everyone, making them pancakes, how about if Eren Yeager used the Colossal Titans to wall off major locations around the world, starting with Marley? In other words, really giving them a taste of what Eldians suffered for years and years. Much like the Armin plan, this would help them buy them more time. I'm not sure if the tens of millions of supposed Colossal Titans he does have are enough to pull this off. So, just fun option here. Let me know what you think about this one. I really don't think there's a high chance about this, but it does bring up very interesting imagery and is a fun thought experiment. The next Eren plan? This is really more of a side issue about dealing with the whole Titan issue. Recall that very old popular theory about Eren or someone collecting all 9 Titan powers. He currently has 3 of them. I only quickly bring this up because it currently doesn't really seem to apply anymore. It wouldn't even be worth talking about until Eren resolved the Eldian issue. Really, all the other Titans are behind him, trying to catch up to him. The reason I do bring this up is because I think it is a fair question. Forget about becoming the ultimate Titan master. Eren right now should have full control of the Founding Titan. Why not use the Founding Titan abilities? Change the Eldian body structure so they could no longer become Titans. Whichever route Eren's plan does go, this should be something to consider. If there are limitations about this, hopefully Isayama will expand on this. The Eren Super Wild Plan option. Over the past few months, maybe even years, I've seen this type of thing from a lot of you. Oh, that I want Attack on Titan to end in some way that no other series has before. That it should have some unique ending without tropes or cliches. I'm just wondering how many of these people want Isayama to go with the original ending where everyone died. Unfortunately, I do have to tell you the reality for this. In order to do that, Isayama would have to make Attack on Titan go super out there, something more or less super artsy. I'm actually thinking a finale resembling Evangelion, Madoka, perhaps even Devilman Crybaby. Feel free to post your obscure artsy anime of choice. The problem with being too unique, too crazy, is that you would risk the finale and hence series for the sake of being different. I do question how unique the finale will ultimately end up being, but having tropes and cliches is not necessarily a bad thing. Which, by the way, let me remind you, Attack on Titan is full of them. It really just comes down to execution. Besides, being more artsy is something that smaller original anime properties can do. But for Attack on Titan, it would be taking too much of a risk, especially when it isn't needed. Ultimately, in whatever way Attack on Titan does end, it's not going to be up to Isayama, but up to Eren. Whether that's ultimately sacrificing himself, going with the direct mass destruction option, or going with some of these other more wild possibilities. One of the things I do think very much that is at the top of Eren's plan will eventually have his plan involving the reverse of the Colossal Titan powers. Recall that the Eldian King forced him into this limitless sentence, which was really just being a red giant to act as support and structure for that wall that would make China blush. Come on, that was horrible. At least the other mindless Titans got to move around. Anyway, let's find out where you stand. Whose plan do you think is the best? Armin, Zeke, Eren Yeager, something different? I do predict that a good chunk of fans are siding with whomever they like more as a character, rather or no matter the harsh details of their plan. Which ultimately means the winner right now should be Eren freaking Yeager. Come on, Mr. Freedom, abs do not disappoint. By the way, special thanks to Blade X Lord. Why not go ahead and give this game a shot? The link for your mobile device is down below. And no problem at all if you don't want to continue. The app is free, which means you are able to support the channel no problem. Anyway, bonus question for hardcore fans. What is that 1 or 2 things that need to be in the finale so it's perfect for you? Whether that's the character surviving, some relationship. Definitely subscribe for more juicy anime videos. Check out my new ReZero Season 2 trailer breakdown and my video on the final SAO season, and I'll see you guys later.